Hey guys, it's me, Kylie, here today to debunk false claims put out by the Anti-Clout Reserve, or the ACR. In this video, I plan to go over multiple claims of alleged harassment from multiple members of the ACR, as well as exposing them for harassment likewise. And if you guys want to see more of my content and more of me, subscribe and hype this video so we can get to the top. Anyways, without further waiting, let's get into the video. We start our story off with a YouTuber by the name of Ray the Cat, who just goes by Ray on Discord. This person was the first to comment on a video I made critiquing the ACR, and getting mad at a key member of the AGF, known as Red Simpson, for alliancing with them. For context, the AGF is the Anti-Guamgo Federation, devoted to taking down Guamgo and his supporters, which include the ACR. As such, you can imagine why we were not the best of friends. I'm not going to say that he should have liked me, that wasn't the problem. But the images you were about to see were his response to my video. He started by telling me that I was a hypocrite on a later video I made which told people not to spread hate. This is my response, where I admit to Ray that I don't like him and the ACR because they took down one of my friends, Nivalk, and that I wanted to get back by taking his channel down. That probably wasn't the most appropriate response, I will admit, but what Ray says next really sets the perspective for the situation. This man decides to say that my rationale is racism, and telling me that I am betraying my own race, and that I think racism is perfectly fine even though I'm a Latina. Also worth mentioning, Ray claims that I was threatening to dox him over a YouTube channel, which as I said before, is slander. This would be me being a hypocrite if true, which it isn't. This is where I tell Ray that the problem isn't racism, but rather Ray refusing to take responsibility for false reporting Nivalk, and thus getting a channel with many tens of thousands of subscribers terminated for no reason. I think that's a very silly move for Ray, claiming that I support racism because I didn't like the fact Ray falsely reported a channel, and abused the YouTube copyright system. But if you thought this was bad, trust me, it gets way worse. Remember when I said that Ray started this by calling me a hypocrite? Well, now that we're on the talk of hypocrites, I think it's appropriate I bring this up. Ray starts off by telling me that I define critique as hate, going into a tirade about us being open to criticism and knowing the difference between criticism and hate. This is something I think I should get out of the way. There's a difference and a fine line between critique and flat-out hate. Call me crazy, but I don't think this is critique, nor criticism. In fact, I think it's flat-out hate. How much more blatant can you get? The channel's name is quite literally, I Hate Kylie Malone. So the fact that you can tell me that you don't hate anybody, and have never once hated, is ridiculous. How petty do you have to get to make a channel dedicated to the hatred of me? I feel it's ridiculous and you should be ashamed of yourself. And in this comment, he asks me to define hate, so I will. Hate is the willing harassment, condemnment, and targeting of an individual for personal or private reasons, with a clear attempt to wrong them. To contrast, critique is when somebody states something to you in an effort to make it better, more efficient, etc. They are not the same thing, but I find it ironic that you're telling me this when you are the one that doesn't understand the meanings in the first place. So that's a bunch of information on Ray, his actions, and why the ACR is not who they say they are. Obviously, he's not the only member hating, as you will soon see in another co-member's video. However, I think it's about time we stop looking at the ACR as its name, Anti-Clout Reserve, but rather something more deeper, more conniving, and more sinister.